Hi everyone, a very good morning. I hope now I'm audible. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Hey, good morning, Jyoti. Hi everyone. Yes, hi Kate. Thank you so much, Sham, Nitesh, everyone. All right, great. So as I can see, less people right now. Let's wait for 1 more minute and then we'll get started. Hey, Shishir. So I just wanted to give you the idea about the global infrastructure of AWS. That is super interesting. Hey, Roshan. I understand that, Roshan. I mean, we people are from different uh, time zones. I understand. So, like, greetings of the day. Hey, good morning, Nikita. I mean, I really very appreciate Roshan. I mean, at 2:30 a.m., you are putting your efforts to learn something really nice. All right, guys. So let's get started. I have already waited for some time. We can get started. All right, guys. So yesterday we had a discussion about a couple of basic things about cloud computing. We started about the AWS, right? What is AWS, where it stands in market, right? Now we are going a little deeper into AWS, okay? And we want to understand what is the global infrastructure and its components in AWS. Very important to know this, guys, because if you're new to AWS, then it's important to understand how AWS can support, big organization. What is exactly there inside AWS? Yeah. I mean, how it is so resilient and I mean, it can support no downtime, okay, and provides you the scalability. What exactly there inside that, right? So I would like to give you it live, right? So just see. When I talk about global infrastructure, no, so it is spread all over the globe, right? So it is better you just see this particular portal, right? Basically, it is live, right? You can just see everything is happening here. Yeah, thank you so much, Roshan. I will try my best. Thank you so much. I'm really happy that you found my style of explaining anything easier. Gauri is not having any audio, so let me just. This happens, in initial sessions, people struggle with audio and everything. Yeah. All right, guys. So I was in this particular portal, and this is actually shows you, the global infrastructure which is spread all over the globe, right? When you just a little bit scroll down, this is live actually. Yeah, you can see this is actual locations where we have all those things in AWS. Can you see Zurich? Here we have Spain. Here we have Canada Central, Government Cloud, right? Oregon region, Canada, yeah, North Carolina, oh sorry, California. And you can see Mexico, Sao Paulo. In India also we have two regions. Can you see that? One is in Mumbai. It was launched in 2016. I'll talk about those regions and everything. I just want to give you an idea that how globally the infrastructure is split. Yeah, so AWS is there in every corner of the world. Yeah. So you can just see that in India, we have two regions, right? I'll talk about regions and everything. And you can see here also Jakarta, and they are upcoming also. I mean, they keep on improving their infrastructure. So can you see here when you see these red dots? No, this is coming soon. So Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they are coming soon with a region. Okay, I'll talk about it. So the point is here what they are constitute of. So let me just tell you, there are four major components that we have in our AWS Global Infrastructure. The first one is called as region. Okay, the first one is called as region. Then inside those regions, right, we have availability zones. I'll talk about the whole architecture. All right. And inside these availability zones, we have data centers. Okay. Inside this AZs, we have data center. And then finally, we talk about the POPs. Okay. POPs are nothing but edge locations. I'll talk about edge location, what they're used for, and everything. So here you can see the global map. Right now, we have 34 launch region in AWS. This number may change by time because you can see AWS improving their infrastructure day by day, and this number can change. All right. That is why it is always a good idea to see it here instead of seeing in PPT, because PPT might have older data. And you can see here we have total of 108 availability zones within these 34 launch regions. Okay. We'll talk about the basic idea. What is that region? What is that AZs? I just want to give you that number so that you remember all these things. This particular part is important in a sense that whenever you create your infrastructure, no, you should understand, or you should actually give it a consideration that where you should go and deploy your infrastructure. Where are your customers, right? How they're getting the services done, and how they're accessing their applications and everything. Okay, I can say 6 messages in the chat box. Just see what is the problem. So is it not fixed, Gauri? Recordings are always there, Gauri, so don't worry about this. Roshan, I will come to that. Yeah, just listen to my explanation. I think you will get your all the answers. Don't worry, right? Just see. Okay. I mean, uh, that's the idea. I mean, I know what kind of questions you people can ask me, right? So I always incorporate that in my explanation. So definitely, after that, if you have questions, definitely you can ask me anytime. Feel free. Yeah. So that is what I just wanted to tell you, that we have 34 launch regions, we have 108 availability zones, and we have 600 plus POPs, that is point of presence. Yeah. If you just scroll down, it's not only this, right? We have other things as well. Although this is like little advanced and granular form of the infrastructure. That is, you can see here, we have 41 local zones, 29 wavelength zones, 245 countries and territories served by AWS. It's a big network, right? It is all connected, all right? And there are 135 direct connect locations. These are a couple of advanced things, right? That you will come to know when we progress. But let's talk about these things, right? Regions, AZs, and everything. All right. So Gauri was, there in yesterday's session, we decided, right? I mean, we all are working from home, right? So there will be a lot of disturbances from anyone's end, right? So we kept everyone on like mute, and let's say at the end of the session, you want to ask me anything, you can. Yeah. Okay, no problem. So basically, that's the reason, you cannot. No problem, no problem, Gauri. So you can check out the recording from yesterday's session. Okay. We have recording. I mean, we always have the recording of each and every session. Please check it, Gauri. Yeah. Gauri, please let me just maintain the flow of the session, right? And just listen to me what I'm trying to say. At the end, I will show you where you can find those all, right? All right. I mean, there are other learners who are waiting outside. So, I mean, let's keep these things at the end. I will show you where you can get all these things. Yeah. Okay. So just listen to my explanation, guys. And after end of that, if you have any question, you are always welcome to ask, right? So please, like, feel free to ask after that. Okay. Let me just explain you what is the concept if you are really very new. Definitely, uh, I mean, I will help you after that if you have any question. Okay. So let's talk about different components, right? Because it is important to understand. There are some best practices that we follow here in AWS to choose the specific area. Okay. So let's talk about it. I hope you can see the illustration. Okay. Let's talk about it. So when I talk about region, no, when I talk about the region, it is nothing but a geographical location. Okay, when you talk about region, it's a geographical location, it's a physical location all around the world, yeah, where those availability zones and inside that ACs we have those data centers. So if you just see here, this is one region. Okay, this is one region of AWS. Yeah, it is somewhere in the world, and I have already shown you where they are located. Okay, we can choose the regions. Okay, and why it is important to understand this region, because these services are region specific. Most of the services are region specific, right? I mean, the point is, if you have created your infrastructure in one region, will not be available in other regions. Yeah, so you have to understand, what is the idea to choose this region. I will give you some practical tips here. Don't worry. Okay, so this region constitutes of availability zones. This is very, very important. So this geographical area, yeah, is nothing but having set of availability zones. AZs are nothing but cluster of data centers. Okay, inside those AZs, we have different clusters. One thing that I would like to tell you, the all regions are isolated from each other. So like anything goes wrong in one region, yeah, it will not impact the other region or other AZs. So you can just see that they are isolated. AZs are also isolated, but regions are also isolated, but they are highly connected. Yeah, they are highly connected with a private network. Yes, it is AWS private network that I am talking about. It is not public internet. Yes. Okay. AWS has got its own low latency private network, using which they have connected their own, components. So I hope we are getting this idea of regions. Okay, there are geolocations. Okay, I mean, there are some services where we have scope, like there are global services, some region specific services. Most of the services are region specific. I mean, when you create something inside a region, it is there inside that region, right? It never leaves that. Okay, there are some best practices, I'll tell you. One thing that I would like to give you an idea here, all regions, right? All regions have minimum of two AZs. Okay, just see this, and maximum it can have six AZs. That is what is the number lies in between, right? Two AZs and six AZs. Okay, so like let's say AWS have launched that region recently, then definitely it will start with two AZs, and later when we grow, then you can see it is six AZs. The biggest region in AWS till date is US East 1. Yeah, it is called as US East 1. They have abbreviated. I'd show you this in the console, right? It's basically North Virginia where it is located. North Virginia. Okay. And this is the biggest region. It has got six AZs total, right? Mostly we will be working with the North Virginia region only, because we can access to all these services in that case. Okay. They are highly connected with private network, as I have already told you. Let me just give you some idea about those services. But before that, let's talk about AZ. What is this AZ? Yeah. All right. I'll talk about this. Why? So when I talk about AZ, it is nothing but cluster of all your data centers. So if you just see inside this AZ, right, what exactly we have? We have cluster of those data centers where actually hardware is placed, and we store anything, we host the application, anything can be done. Yeah, and you can understand the AZs are interconnected to each other. Yeah, one thing that I would like to tell you here, that the whole infrastructure of AWS actually try to provide you high availability. That is what is the whole concept, high availability. That means whenever we are hosting any database, any application, anything, any infrastructure, like the region, AZs, everything supports high availability. That means there's no downtime here. Okay. So how it supports, there are multiple things that you can understand here. Like first, the regions, yeah, they're like globally spread. Secondly, they are highly interconnected with the private network, so they are not relying on internet, public internet. Okay, and inside the region also, they have multiple AZs. They are highly connected and isolated. Very important. You can see they are interconnected, low latency, resilient fiber connectivity, and they are isolated to each other. That means they are fault tolerant. Okay, means if anything goes wrong in one AZ, yeah, it will not impact the working of other ACs. Make sense? And this is one way. This is fault tolerance. Secondly, I mean, I have talked about the high availability, right? In this case, what we try to do whenever we host any of the application here in one AZ, we try to replicate the data in multiple AZs. So we always go for multi-AZ setup, and that is how we achieve this high availability. Multi-AZ. We always try to do this multi-AZ deployments so that if anything goes wrong, we can also go for multi-region, but that is very expensive. So, I mean, we always try to do this multi-AZ all the time so that if anything goes wrong in one AZ, yeah, we can have the data, we can have the application hosted from other AZs in that specific region. So this is the key, guys. I mean, just try and remember all these points. This will help you, yeah, answering those questions in the certification exam. Okay, these are some of the best practices. Now let's talk about how we choose the region, how we choose the AZs. Right? Of course, we have to choose the region. Then only we can actually choose any AZ. But just see, these are some practical tips, right, that you can actually keep in mind while deploying your infrastructure on AWS in terms of choosing the right region. The first thing is pricing. Yes. So when you deploy the infrastructure in different regions, right, there might be different pricing for different services. So this is important to understand. I'll show you, a comparison or a kind of, it's a web page where you can actually see the service-wise bifurcation in different regions. I'll show you that. But this is the important factor. Then secondly, it is security and compliance requirement. Yes, it is important because sometimes what we are doing, we are working with such an application and data which you do not want any other country people to access. Okay, so this compliance requirement, security requirement are very specific. So you have to understand, right, where you can actually get it and choose the region accordingly. Okay, you can just see the third factor is super important, right? This is user customers location. And I think this one, latency and user location actually go hand in hand. What is happening? Let's say, for an example, you know that your majority of the users are there in US region, and you have launched your infrastructure in Australian region. So it's not a good idea, right? Definitely because of the distance, right? You will have a latency. You will feel that delay in accessing those applications and services. Yeah. So this is the problem. You should understand where are your users and customers are located. Okay, and then you should choose the region accordingly so that I mean, those users do not get any kind of latency or any kind of delay in accessing those services. Okay. And this is also an important point, as I have already told you, the services are region specific. Service availability. Sometimes what happens, like not all the services are supported in all the regions. Okay, we have to understand this particular idea. Yeah. So the major point is like we should consider high availability. Yeah. Secondly, we should consider latency. Yeah, latency. Then third, we should consider cost. Yeah, and of course, service availability. Yeah. So that is what is the first one. This is the key takeaway here, service availability. Okay. I just want to give you an idea where you can find all these things. AWS always give us these information in a good way. So you can try that. AWS region specific services. There's a whole portal. You can just see AWS service by region. Always take a look into AWS documentation. It is very, very rich. So you can see here, I'm choosing the US East one, that is North Virginia region. You can see there are a lot of region like this. Can you see US East, Ohio, US West, right? African, Asia Pacific, like Asia Pacific in Jakarta, a lot of different European region, right? These are like government clouds. These are not for us. Okay. So what you can do, you can actually get to know what services are offered uh, in different regions. So you will see most of the services are offered in North Virginia region because it's the biggest one. Okay. Then you can try any other. Let's say that you know that the Asia Pacific Hyderabad region is just launched, right? It is launched in 2022. So you just see this. Yeah. There are less set of applications or services available. You will find it out. Yeah. When you explore this. So I really appreciate if you just see this whole idea. You don't need to remember, what are the services available and everything. Don't worry. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is how it works. I hope you're getting the link I have shared in the chat box. Now, let me just come to uh, the next idea, which I want to tell you is I talk about latency. Don't worry, Nikita. Just wanted to give you an idea about the region specific services. Okay, no problem. I don't see that diagram here. Earlier it was there. Anyways, I will do it for you. So let me just tell you, the categories are divided in such a way that there are some global services. Let me just tell you that. So let's say we are, in the global scope. Okay. So the services like yeah, I'm just trying to give you some scope, what is this? Then you can think about Route 53. These are the services which are globally available. I'll show you that. Then inside this, right, we have region specific services. Yeah. Inside that region, yeah, we have services. Most of the services are region specific. Let me just tell you. They rely inside the region. They live inside the region, right? There are some services which are AZ specific also, like EC2 instances. Yeah. So they lie inside this AZ only, right? Availability zone. So this is how it works, right? You should understand what is the scope of the service and where it is living and what is happening all the time. Okay. So this is what we try to do. I would like to give you some idea about the POPs also. It's called as point of presence, and they are mainly edge locations. Okay. edge locations. Basically, edge locations are part of their CDN network. When you talk about AWS, they are part of CDN network. So whenever they want to deliver the content very fast, so they use edge locations as caching. Yeah, so they cache, right, the data, whatever they want to deliver very fast. Like for example, video streaming or maybe live streaming. It can be anything, right? Or maybe live real-time data analytics, right? So they use these edge locations where they actually have those low latency setup. Okay, and they are very close to each other. You can see there are a lot of edge locations, 600 plus. Okay, so POPs there. So they are close to users so that the users can get those content without any latency. So basically, there are caching solutions available in. So I mean, the services use it. Right? We can use it directly, no problem. But there's a lot of configuration required. Mainly, the services will use all these edge locations. Okay, I hope you're getting this. Like for an example, I have a web page or web application, which mostly the users can need it, right? So what they do, they put this web pages, the content, right, in this edge location, so that without latency they can get it in. They can see it without any uh, downtime or slow browser speed, right? So there are a couple of things that you should understand about edge location. As we progress, you will understand a couple of more things. Yeah, don't worry about this. Yeah. So I hope you are getting this idea of global infrastructure. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Yes, sir. Nikita is saying that, sir, I did not understand the meaning of latency here. Let me just tell you, latency means delay. Let's say if you are accessing any web application and you are not getting it, uh, you're not getting it for a longer period of time. So that means there's a delay, there's a latency in that process, right? I hope you understand. Yeah. Yes, Sunil, if you have anything to ask me, please let me know. I will unmute you for a few minutes. You can ask me. Let me know when to unmute you, and definitely I'll do it. We can do it for a few minutes in our session, no problem. Deepak, can a service be included from other regions in case? No, Deepak. We have to launch our whole infrastructure in that region. Okay, we have to choose the region specifically. Okay, services cannot be so services are hosted, region specific. Okay, are you saying edge locations are physical location servers? They are part of region only. Let me just tell you, but yes, you can say that they are physical location. So I'm saying multi-AZ. Is this like Hyderabad? There will be two more data centers located in multiple areas. Yes. So, I mean, it's not about building. Yeah, it can be at different locations, but they are different. They are, highly interconnected. So whenever I deploy anything, right, I always prefer to have those data, those applications deployed in different AZs. Okay. It's not about single building or multiple location. They are connected if they are, I mean, despite of being in the same building or maybe in, different location, doesn't matter. They are part of one region. Okay. Arvinder is saying, what if I use users USA and India, but I have set up in Ireland? No, this is not a good idea, right? You should migrate your whole setup to uh, the region close to it. Although they will get the services, it is not like if you have your own setup in Ireland, then the Indian region people will not be able to get it. But there might be some latency issues. Yeah. So you can have something like Route 53 kind of applications, which actually can solve this purpose, Harvinder. But it is better to choose a region before actually deploying your architecture close to your users. Yeah. Nitesh is asking, can region be switched after deployment without downtime? No, it is not actually a good idea. Yeah, because we need to do a lot of things when you do that. Okay. Arvind is saying, if I'm building a SaaS product where global users are more than a single region, so that is okay. I mean, you should always choose a region, uh, which is like optimal one. Yeah, that is a good idea. Okay, and let me just tell you, when you choose AZ, no, that is actually the service specific thing. Okay, so that's the second step. First, you should choose the region, and inside that region, there will be AZs. Okay, so sometimes we don't have that control, right? In which AZ it is located or it is placed. We don't have such control, right? We can choose region, but sometimes we don't have that freedom to choose the AZs. Roshan is saying, what's the expected latency between data centers? It should be minimum. That is what is the expectation. Yeah. There's no as such uh, mm, like figure or any value, right? As such, it should be lowest. That is what, see, that is the architectural best principle. No? If you get latency, then actually your architecture plans fails. Yeah. Yeah. What minimum, like 10? No, no, no. It is not like this. It depends on your application that you're hosting. Here we are talking about, Roshan, architecture, the infrastructure on the top of which you are saying that, right? So it can be application specific that you're talking about. Okay. This is not related to architecture. Okay. They were saying sometimes we have 95% of services. If we don't have 5% services in any region, what should be done? That is what I told you, right? You have to change that region if you are very, very in need of those services which are not available in that region. You have to change the region in that case. Yeah. So that is service availability. You have to check it out because there are some small regions, there are some big regions, right? So let's say if some of the services are not available in one region, but available in another region, so and you need them, so you have to change the region. Avin Singh, how can we calculate latency? That's not a relevant question, Arvind, because latency is something which we can have on the top of applications, right? So let's talk about architecture first. I think when you deploy your things, then you can talk about. See, if you are deploying your infrastructure or application in one region which is far away from your users, so definitely there will be a lot of latency. You have to understand like this. Okay, so let's talk about infrastructure. Okay, I would like to tell you, let's open the console as well. I would like to show you how you can actually change the region and what is this everything. Yeah, let's go for free tier. Let me just log into the AWS console. I want to show you where you can see all these things. Let's go for root user. Just choose the appropriate, not this one. This is good. Yeah. So here I am in my AWS console. You can see that. And if you just see the right side corner, right, can you see I'm in North Virginia region. So whenever you launch anything or you open your account, you will see the region right here in the corner, right? And when you scroll down, you will see all those regions. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. So I can change that. Right now I'm in North Virginia region. Yeah. I can change, let's say my most of the users are from Asia Pacific. Let's go for Asia Pacific. Okay, so this is as easy as that. I have just changed my region. Now I can launch any of the things here in this region. As easy as that. Can you see this? Right. One thing that I would like to tell you here, you can just see specific region here. But when you go for some of the services, let's go for IAM service that we're going to start today only. IAM service, right? Then you will see something, just see that. I am in IAM service. Can you see global here? What does it mean? I have given you an idea here. Remember that? There are some services which are not uh, like region specific, right? That is what is IAM. Okay, that's why you see global, and you are not actually having all the regions here. Why? Because when you create IAM resources, no, it's available in all the regions. That is how it is global service. But if you go to any other service, let's say EC2, yeah, you will see that you have that freedom to choose the region. Okay, can you see that? All right. So in our course, mostly we'll work, with the US East one, that is the biggest region. Yeah. So it is my request to everyone that whatever the region that you have chosen, switch to North Virginia, because otherwise, you will have some services not available in some regions. So let's make it unanimous. We'll go with the North Virginia region. Okay. This is the way it is done. One thing that I would like to tell you here, when you scroll down, yeah, you can just see some of the regions are not active here. What does it mean? Because we are running AWS free tier account, right? So we are not allowed to choose these regions. Can you see? There are 13 regions that are not enabled for this account because of the free tier. Okay. So you must understand this and take care of this. Makes sense? I hope it does. There are a couple of more questions. If we're deploying one application in one region and some disaster happen in the region, the data will be lost. No, don't worry about this, right? There are a lot of different backup strategies that AWS is making. Don't worry. Yeah. Okay. So that's the advanced part. When we progress, you will see that how disasters can be handled. Okay, Ravinder. I'll talk about replication strategies, backup strategies. So it's not right time to discuss that. Priya is saying, for some reason, I am unable to choose location. What is the reason, Priya? Uh, Venga Surya is asking something. We have replicas in availability zone, so parallel processing is expected. Yes, of course. Yeah, read replicas and on. So we have different services and different strategies to do that replication backup, right? So we will see when we progress. Can we able to choose availability zone specific rather than choosing the region? No. We have to first choose the region, then only for some services we have that freedom to choose the AZs. Okay. I mean available cross AZs. Hmm, what was the question? I think it is connected question. Yes. Are there any services those are region specific but not available across AZs? No, I don't think so, because when you talk about region, inside a region we have AZs, so that is not a problem, right? I mean, let's say if a service is available in region, that means it is available in AZ. But sometimes the infrastructure that you created, sort of, no, is available inside specific AZ. Like for an example, if you have launched EC2 instance, so that EC2 instance will be launched in a specific AZ in a region. That is what is the whole idea. Make sense? Yeah. I hope I answered. Is it possible to create two free tier account? Yes, yes, it is possible. No problem. You can have as many as you want. Yeah, it's just like you just have to have the different payment ideas. You can try that. Are these DCs inside AZs encrypted? Yes, fully encrypted. Yeah, fully encrypted. Okay, don't worry. AWS follows a very strong privacy policies and compliance rules. Okay, that is why they are hosting big organizations. Okay, yeah, I hope it is clear. Anything else I can help, guys? Then I can move. So if you don't have a question, no, you should have all good in the chat box so that I come to know about that. Yeah. I cannot see any new question. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, Sunil want to ask me anything. Let me just unmute. Yes, Sunil, go ahead.
So, we are covering, I'm going to say, today's agenda to cover.
Global infrastructure. Then we'll talk about how these service, resources can be accessed using different ways. Yeah, we'll talk about the IAM service today.
Okay.
So we are following this sequence of module. If you just take a look here, yeah, we are here. Okay, then we'll move towards this. Just follow this. I think you will understand. Anything
And
else?
this ease is coming in a picture when we are setting up their application or like a DR setup, basically, right? I mean,
They are set up, right? They are part of infrastructure of AWS. Okay, replications comes after that because replication strategies are different for different services. So we talk about replication strategies when we are specific to the services. Okay, so this is the global infrastructure components that we have in AZs. Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, yeah, makes sense. But my concern is only the kind of easy, which is
Mm-hmm.
replicated across. You said like minimum 3 to 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's internally minimum replicated 3 or 6.
No, it is not
Uh,
replica. They are separate AZs.
no, that's separate AZs, but it's replicated, right? It's like
No,
the
AZs are
data
not
is.
replicated. Data and applications are replicated sometimes. I mean, we have to make that strategy that way. Like for an example, we are launching a database instance, let's say in RTS. Okay, so RTS, the specific service, actually replicate that data in different AZs so that anything goes wrong in one AZ, we can get the data from another AZ. That's what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Thanks.
All right, guys. So that's what it is. Now, I would like to move to the next thing that I want to show you is how these resources are accessible. I mean, what are the ways we can access these resources? What we are talking about, okay? The services and the other things in the infrastructure. So the whole idea is like access resources. So let me just tell you, there are ways you can access the resources in AWS. Yeah, I'm talking about AWS only. First way and the easiest one that we were using, that is nothing but console access. So we have a management console. It's a web-based UI where you can actually see all these services and you can configure them and whatever you want to do, you can do anything here. Okay, in console. Secondly, we talk about the command line interface. Yeah, that is CLI. So, there are command line interface which actually, can have some of the commands and using which you can interact with the AWS resources and you can do whatever you want to do. Okay. And in CLI, there are two options. Let me just tell you. There's a local CLI. We will try to set up it up, right? We will do it in Windows. Don't worry. And there is one more option that is web-based. And this is good, right? If you just want to try. Okay. It is called as Cloud Shell. Okay, it is like the Linux shell, right? If you know a dollar prompt, where you just write some commands and you do whatever you want to do, right? It is something like this. I'll show you this. And third way is SDK. Yeah, that's called as software development kits. So these are not for architects, right? This is for developers, right? Who do these API calls to these services. Okay, so this is for developers. We have uh, uh, we have different programming languages support here in SDK. Okay, and which you can actually, so like for an example, you have created a web application in any front end like React.js, Node.js, it can be anything, right? And you want a backend hosted on AWS. Okay, you want this on AWS. Okay, so what you can do, you can call this to and fro like this. Okay, using the API calls and everything. It is all there in SDKs. So here SDK is not our focus. We'll talk about console most of the time. We will be working with console, and I'll talk about a CLI sometimes in some specific application. But let me just show you what is this web cloud shell and everything. And we'll also set up local CLI when it is needed. Don't worry. Okay, I'll show you everything. So the console that I've been showing, right? This is your console. Can you see? Console is the easy way, right? You can see everything here. But there are few people who really like to do everything, with the commands. In that case, you have to remember all those commands. Yeah, but we can do that. All right. This is your console home. You can see here. You can search for any service. Yeah. You can see a lot of things here. Like let's say if you have application, all services, you can just see here. Yeah, all services specific to the region, guys. Okay, this is very, very important to understand. All right, at associate level, yeah, we'll try out most of the important services. Okay, this is your console that I was talking about. This is simple way you understand that, right? Now I want to show you that cloud shell. Just see this. So it is cloud shell. It is a kind of service only. You can just see. Yeah. So what exactly it is, right? Just see the description. AWS Cloud Shell is browser-based shell that give you command line access to your AWS resources in the selected AWS region. Yeah, that is what we are trying to do here. Okay. So just see here, right? You can see the shell, right? Sometimes, let's say if you're working with multiple regions now, you can see multiple tabs here. So just choose the appropriate region. Right now I'm in US East 1 region, right? North Virginia. That is why you see something like this. And here is your that dollar prompt, right? Where you can actually run all your commands. So you can try this like as the AWS S3 ls, right? This is the command. Can you see? I'm getting all my S3 buckets shown here. Okay. These are a few of the commands that we can use. Let's say if you want to know more about these commands, you can get into this AWS documentation. Yeah, this is command line reference here given by AWS. So these are like specific commands for different services. So can you see here all those commands are listed? Yeah, I mean the specific to the service. Like in S3 I was working with, right? And I just shown you some command, ls command, list command in S3, right? So it must be here. Let me just show you. There are a lot of services. Yeah, S3. So S3 is nothing but a storage solution where you can actually deploy your files in the form of objects and everything. So can you see we have the commands, right? Okay, we have the commands. You can go through it. Here I have just tried ls command. Can you see that? All right. It's not necessary in this, when you start with AWS and you learn each and every command. No. Yeah, we have console. We can work with the console and we can do whatever we want, right? But in some applications, we want to do this. Okay. So we'll be doing it whenever it is needed. And as I was telling you, right, we can also configure our CLI in local, right? So you can search for, you have to install it locally. Okay. So AWS CLI, let's say you are running on Windows, right? So you have to search it like this. Okay. And here is the idea. These things all available in AWS documentation. So no need to go here and there. It's all there. Okay. So you can see how to install it in Linux, Mac OS, Windows. You can try anything here. Okay. We'll be doing it. Don't worry. We will be setting it because we have to configure it properly with the access IDs and key access keys. So I have not introduced those. That is why I'm not doing this right now. Okay. We need some more background. Okay. All right. This is something that I'm going to do. You can just see the MSI available for CLI. This is version 2, right? So we will be doing it. Don't worry. We will be configuring it, right? But before that, you should understand how the users are managed in AWS. Otherwise, there's no point because we have to configure this. We have to get it authorized, to get all those details of infrastructure. So we will do it when we are going to start the different services with the CLI. Okay. I hope it makes sense. But here, I wanted to give you an idea that how we can access those AWS resources. That's what I did, right? Console, CLI, SDK. So SDK is not, I mean, this is a little out of scope of this course. Yeah, it's majorly for the developers, so it's not for us. Yeah. Okay, so this is what it is. I hope you got it. Any question, guys, till here? Because we are coming at the end of first module. I don't think there's anything left that I want to tell you in basics. I can move to the IAM service. Please take a look in the PPTs, guys. These PPTs are really wonderful. Yeah, our content team has put a lot of efforts to put all those things here. Okay, I highly prefer. Okay, this is also good. I mean, let's say if you want to take a glimpse of AWS services, no, you can see this slide. What is going on here? Just see, there are different categories. Although definitely, they have coming up new services all every day. So it is old data, but this will give you an idea that what kind of services we have in AWS. So you can see there are compute services. That means a server capacity. You can just see Amazon EC2, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, yeah, load balancers, auto scaling. It will be using all of them. Let me just tell you that. Not Lambda too much because it's again programmatic. Yeah, we don't do a lot of programming in this course. Then you can talk about these storage and CDN options. Yeah, you can see S3, S3 EBS. We'll be working with S3 EBS. Glacier option, right? You can just see CloudFront, EFS, that's the Elastic File System. Yeah, you can think about storage gateway if you have some on-premises servers. You want to connect it with the AWS infrastructure. Yeah, then think about these management tools here. Yeah, just want to give you a glimpse of what services we have here. Yeah, you can see ops work, config. Yeah, CloudTrail. These are like cloud formation. CloudWatch is the most important here. CloudWatch, we'll work with the CloudWatch and we'll see how it works. Application integration, right? We have SNS, simple notification service, SQS. These are like decoupling services, which actually enhances the performance of the whole application, right? SES. Just wanted to give you some glimpse. We have some network applications like VPC. Yeah, can you see the VPC? Okay. I think there's one more slide if I'm not wrong. Yeah, can you see? Here also, we have security and identity management services, right? We'll start the IAM today. Yeah, IAM service, user management. We talk about WAF, web application firewall. We talk about Shield. These all services are for security and identity management. Yeah, the KMS is important, right? Key management service. Okay. Then database services, we have Aurora. That's a proprietary service. We can talk about RDS. Yeah, we can talk about Redshift, DynamoDB. Yeah, a lot of services available. Then container services, right? Let's say you want containerized applications, then you can use EKS, ECRs, ECS, right? A lot of Fargate. Fargate is very popular one, serverless containers. Yeah. So just wanted to give you a glimpse of it. Don't expect, guys, these all services we will be covering in our course because it's just overwhelmed. It is not possible to do it. Yeah, but yes, I can tell you that 100% 100% important services will be covered here in detail, so don't worry about that. Yeah, sometimes you need a high level overview of that service, and later in the future you can just try out those services. Okay. I know what this I was talking about, but I found it here. Yeah, can you see some global services? I was in CloudFront, Route 53, IAM service, then region-specific services like DynamoDB, S3, ELB, right, VPC. But there are some AZ-based services, but they are inside the region. Okay, so can you see here we talk about Elastic Block Storage, EBS, EC2 is a AZ service. Even the CVPC subnets are dependent on AZ. Yeah. So you will see all these things in action. Don't worry about this. Yeah. So I was looking for this diagram, but I couldn't have it. Anyways, yeah. I think we are good to go. We have done it. Cloud Shell, I have just given you an idea where we can actually do it. Done. Yeah. Don't worry, I will not bore you all with the PPTs, right? I will try to make it as practical as possible. Yeah, don't worry. But it was initial session, right? So many of you right, not aware of the ideas in AWS. So definitely I need to take that as well. Yeah. Any questions, guys, still here? Then I am planning for a break. Yeah, all good. Thank you so much. Can I hear it from everyone? Thank you, guys. Then after break, right, we will start with our first service. That is IAM. Yeah. So there's a question Sunil is asking. So how industry using CLI in live production environment? Uh, I mean, there are simple commands using which they are interacting with the sources and everything. Not necessary, right? I mean, not necessary that industry, use CLI every time for production environment. No, right? They also use console, and majorly they use console only, right? But there are some commands which are really good in CLI. As we progress, you will see, right? So 90% they also using console only, right? But sometimes there are few people who like to do everything with the help of commands. Okay. So I have given you a reference of commands, right? There we have all these commands. So what you can do with the console, no? Let's say you want to create S3 bucket. Okay. You can do it with the command as well, like this. The same idea, same operation, but with the command. That is what they're trying to do. Okay. That's the idea. No, no, no. It is not like this, Nitish. Yeah. As you said, accessibility is better with CLI. Okay, guys, I'll do one thing. I'll make chat to everyone so that other people can also see your questions. Okay, if there are repetitive questions, similar questions, then we can omit that. Okay, I've made it to everyone. No, it is not something like this. Accessibility is better with CLI. No, I don't think so. Right? What do you think, Madhuri? I mean, learning all those commands uh, in CLI, or I mean, making them remember, or just go to the console and do some clicks and job is done. What do you think is going to be more easy? Of course, you answered your question. Yeah, but yes, there are a few people who like to do everything with the help of commands. In that case, you need to remember all those commands. That's it. Yeah, or you should have something. Yeah. No, I don't think automation is there using CLI. Right? Automation can be done using, um, uh, you know, okay, automation can be done using console as well. That is not the concern. I mean, it's not specific to CLI or something. I mean, I had scenarios where console was taking a lot of time to load. That might depend on your internet speed or something. I have not experienced that console was taking a lot of time to load. No, I don't think so. I mean, as far as my experience is concerned. Siva is saying sometimes I feel the course is practical and useful, but other times I feel questions from AWS are different from what's covered in the course. Can we go over some sample questions related to the topics? Yes, we will do it when we go. So I've just started, guys. I mean, just try and understand. As we progress, we will add a lot of things to this. Okay. And every time I just have to explain this, please try and understand this. Okay. Thank you, Siva. All right, let's take a break, guys. Here, I will go for 8 minutes of break. Yeah, and then I'll come back and get started with the IAM service. Okay, I will set a timer here. Just check it out. Hi guys, I'm back. Are you there? Can I get a quick thumbs up so that I can move ahead? Thank you, everyone. I can get a lot of things. All right, so I'm moving towards the first specific service, that is IAM service. That is very important service, guys, as far the user management is concerned. So what exactly we do with this IAM service? Yeah, let me just talk about it. Okay, that is the I'll talk about the shared responsibility model. Don't worry. Yeah. Yes, I want to get started from this. So what is the IAM service, and what we do exactly with this? Let's try and understand. Every organization, right? There are different users which are like using the resources from AWS, right? So there are two types of users. Okay, let me just tell you, or I should say three types, but majorly we deal with only two. When I talk about users, no, first user is the root user in AWS, how they are managed. Yeah, it's called as root user or account owner. Okay, so whatever the account that we have in our AWS is the owner of that root user. Okay, and secondly, we have the IAM users. So basically, the IAM users are restricted users. I mean, we can actually make use of some policies, which can be applied on these IAM users. So what they can do, what they cannot do, we can decide. Okay, they are restricted users. So root users create IAM users. Okay, and there are a couple of more things like groups, right? Policies, roles. We'll talk about it. And we also have something called as temporary user. I'll talk about it as well later in the course. Okay, temporary user. We can have temporary credentials for the users, everything. Majorly, we work with a root account in this course uh, because we want to have the full access. Okay, but in industries, let me just tell you, it is not actually the right way because the root or owner can do anything. So the idea is root account is created by default. It shouldn't be used for day to day. That's what it is, right? It shouldn't be used for day to day. Rather, we should create the users in IAM, okay, and uh, we can actually have one user per I mean, we can have one IAM user per user in your organization, like this. Okay, so the users are people within your organization, and they can be grouped together using the groups and everything. It is highly manageable. Okay, I hope you're getting what we are trying to do in IAM. So you can just see it is AWS service that set permissions to allocate the right resources to the right person at the right time. Very interesting. Right resources means the resources they want. Let's say, for an example, there are administrators, right? And I want to give them full access. Okay, but there are some team, yeah, which need a very specific resource. I just want them to read the S3 buckets. Okay, so that's a read-only access. Makes sense. So I can actually specify the right resources to the right person at the right time. I can revoke that permission from them, whatever I do, right? I have full control over it. Yeah. So that's what I can do with this IAM, the identity and access management. You are actually managing the identities and the access. Okay. And how do you manage these access? You do it using policies. I'll talk about it when we do that. Okay. And this IAM user or IAM service is global service. Okay, so whenever we create any IAM user or something like this, it is available in all the regions. So it is not region specific service. Yeah, I hope you are getting this. Now let's talk about different components of this IAM service. Then I think you will understand the whole story as these, right? It's like users, groups, policies. What are these? And then we'll practically see it how we can actually create them. All right. So just see, the first thing in IAM is actually IAM users. So basically, these are individual users, can you see, who are set with some permissions, right, as the AWS users. Okay, and they have permanent credentials, not like they're expiring or something like this, and they can access the the resources. Okay, I hope you're getting this. And uh, when I talk about permissions, so they are attached with the users sometimes, or sometimes the users, like for an example, we have developers in our organization, right? So they need similar kind of permissions, right? So what we do, we just group them together in IAM groups. Interesting one, right? We group them together, and then we assign some permissions to them. Like if I tell you, like for an example, there are users like A, B, and C, okay, and they all are developers, okay. So I'll group them together as developers, okay. Let's say there are a few more people in our organization, like maybe D and C, D and E, right? And they are maybe the part of sales team, yeah. So we can have another group, and what we'll do, we actually attach permissions to this group, right? Not the individual user. So this is manageable, right? I mean, all the permissions that we have inside the group will be uh, will be applied to each and every member of this group. So this is highly manageable. We create groups, we put the users into the group, and then we apply those policies and permissions, okay. And one thing that I would like to tell you here that is interesting and practical, people can also be part of multiple group. It is possible, like for an example, your C and D are part of audit team, internal audit team, or something, managerial group, something like this, right? So it can have, like, let's say they are managers, okay, then they can have a separate set of permissions on it. So this is a best practice here I'm trying to follow here. It's like we collect all the users, right, into a group, and then instead, although it is also possible that there is a person F, right, which is not part of any of the group. It's very much possible, and we can attach some policies to this person. That is called as inline policies. I'll talk about it. Okay, this is possible. So you can see whatever you want to do, you should understand that first. What is your requirement, right? What is your setup in your organization, and then you can organize your whole thing like this. Okay. So I hope you understood the IAM users, right, and the IAM groups. I will shortly create them, so I think it will be complete. Let me just talk about these IAM policies, right? Um, as I said, the group or the individual users will be attached with some set of rules that they are abide of. That means what they can access, what they can do, what they cannot do, is there in these policies, right? This is actually JSON based policies. Okay, JSON based document where everything is specified. So you're going to say it's specify those permissions that you want to acquire as a user. Okay, and the policies can be attached to a user or a group. So I think group is a better idea, because individually, if let's say we have thousands of users, then not possible to do it, right? So it's idea, the group idea is actually good. Okay, and what is this IAM role? Okay, this is something which is made for the services. Okay, so what happens here, like services also interact with each other. Like for an example, you have your web pages hosted on EC2 instance, and that EC2 instance is using RDS service as database, right, back in database. Okay, so definitely that EC2 need to interact with uh, the RDS service. So services also interact with each other. So this role is actually for those services. Okay, so you can see for identifying with the permissions to make AWS services request. Okay, so this is specifically for, so we assume a role here with the service. I will show you that, okay, when we progress. Uh, this is specific to service. This is not specific to user. Okay, makes sense. So we apply a role, or we assume a role with a service which have the capability to interact with the other service, and then we can make use of it. I hope you're getting this particular idea. Let's jump into the console and let's see them practically. Okay. Before that, I just want to give you the glimpse of this IAM policies, because there's a specific structure. Let's quickly see that, and then we'll move on. These things are recorded, guys, so feel free to uh, you know mm, give it a look one more time, Okay, makes sense. I want to give you that idea of uh, permissions. Okay, yeah, here it is. I will talk about all those things in detail, don't worry. Yeah, this is the glimpse of IAM policy, right? I'll show you in the console as well, don't worry. So there's a specific format in which, and you will see that very oftenly in AWS, right? This particular format. This is basically a JSON document, right? You can see that JSON based policy. And don't worry, let's say if you don't know about JSON, that is also okay. We have some wizard, right, which we can use to create all these policies. But just wanted to give you this glimpse because I will be using it in our practical. So can you see the first thing inside a policy is actually version. It's not programming, guys. First of all, you should understand that version is, or usually a kind of date. Yeah, so you can just see a date. The statement. Yeah. So let's say if you have different policies, right? So you can actually track the versions and everything. If you are making some changes, then the statement here, the statement will tell the whole story, right? Inside that statement, we first of all have effect. So what do you want to allow? Okay, that is what, and everything is denied by default. Let me just tell you that. Okay, allow action. This action, what do you want to allow, right? So you want to allow a user to list the S3 buckets. Can you see, very specific, right? So I mean, the user cannot do anything. It just can list out the buckets. I'll show you everything. We'll do this exactly. Okay, and third thing, these three things are very important, guys. Okay, third thing is resources. Yeah. So here, the specific resource, what exactly the resource you want to allow or deny. So can you see you are allowing this operation, list bucket operation, on this resource named as example bucket. This is the name of the bucket on which you are trying to allow this operation on. Yeah. Let me just tell you one thing. Let's say if it is admin, right? So you will see asterisk here a lot of time. Okay. Asterisk stands for everything here in AWS. Okay. So let's say if you effect is asterisk, that means you're allowing everything. Action asterisk, that means every action, right? And let's say if you have resources asterisk, that means every resource. It's a kind of administrative full access, root account, like, right? Full access to each and every resource. Every kind of action is allowed. You will see that. Okay, I will show you in action. So let's jump into that further at you, and let's create uh, those IAM users, and let's explore that. I'll show you those policies there, how to create a group and everything. Let's jump. Let me just do a cleanup. Yeah, so we need to go to here. Good. So just see this. So let's go to IAM service. Just see that. Can you see what is that IAM? Manage access to AWS resources. We can decide, right, what we can do. So this is your IAM dashboard, right? And there are a couple of things that you will see. That is MFA and everything. As we progress, you will see all those things. I'll tell you what is this. Okay, makes sense. Let's try and understand. And you can just see the whole idea right now. I have two user groups right now, right? I have one user. There are 13 roles, 8 policies based on my previous usage. You can also see all these things here in this left side panel. Yeah, we have user groups, users, roles, policies, everything. Yeah. So let's go for the users. Let's create it. Okay. So right now I have this user. Let me just delete it. We can have a number of users. I don't need that user. That is I'm deleting. Not necessary all the time. Yeah. So it is going to be Edureka user. Just want to give you a fresh idea. That is why I'm just deleting. Otherwise, not necessary all the time. Yeah. Makes sense. So there are no users here. Let's go and create a user. Okay. Because there are previous experiments. That is why I'm just cleaning up. So let's go for deleting these users as well. Just want to give you a fresh idea. All right. Let's go to the users. And there are no users. There are no groups. Right? Makes sense. So let's get it started. Can you see here on the right side corner, we have create users. Okay. You just see the create user, and you're going to see you have to specify the user details, which user you want. Okay. So let's have like demo user. Makes sense. Or whatever you like. Don't worry. I mean, you can also set alias to the user. I will show you how. Just pay attention to the options, guys. Here, that is important, because otherwise, what you will miss is like some minute details. Yeah, just pay attention what I'm trying to do. Don't try to do it parallelly, right? It's not a good idea. You might miss something. You have recordings, right? So you can do that later. But just right now, have the feel what is happening. Okay. So username, and you are expert in that, so you can try it parallelly, no problem. Yeah. So can you see demo user? This is something very interesting. Provide user access to the AWS Management Console. It is optional, but let's say if you want, you can do it. Like similar to the root user can access the console, right? You want this IAM user to access the console. So you can check this. I want to check this because I want to show you how it can be done. Okay. So I will provide a separate console to this demo user as well. And here is one more interesting settings. So specify user in identity center. It is not actually required right now, although it is recommended. Okay, we'll talk about identity center later. Okay, but I just want to create an IAM user. Can you see IAM user here? That is good enough, right? And now, as this is a user, right, it needs some credentials to be passed. So can you see there are options of console password here, because we are allowing the access to the console. So you can just see here the a custom password, auto generated password. Yeah, so you can try anything. Let's go for a custom password. I'm putting a password here, simple password. Yeah, we can set this password policy as well. This is also possible. Yeah, and there's one more interesting setting that you should focus. User must create a new password at the next sign in. So this is default password that you have given. Yeah, you want the user to change its password when it is login first time. Okay, you can try that if you want, right? And let's go for the next. Okay, I mean, there are some password policies applied already. So let me just try this password. I think this should work. Yeah. So you can create your own password. Just check out the password policies. The second step, yeah, here we have steps to follow, right? You see, when if you are new to AWS, this is the way we do it. Okay. So can you see we are setting up a permission here? Very, very important. As I told you, yeah, we have to set up some permissions to the users, right, to the groups and everything. So just see that permission options and check out. This is very interesting. Add user to the group. That is convenient one, right? I mean, just create a group, or you already have some group to which this user can be added. Yeah, you can try this, and we will try this only, right? Just see. Or you can have some permission, like the JSON document. You can copy that permissions to this. You can attach a policy directly. This policy is inline policy, by the way. When you attach a policy directly a user, that is called as inline policy. Okay, let's go for the group. I think that's the best idea. And you can see right now I don't have any group. Yeah, so I can create it one directly here. Otherwise, I can go and create from here as well. No problem. Yeah, but it's also allowing you to create a group right away. Let's create a group and let's name it like admins. Okay, admins, and just see very, very important aspect. Okay, you have just named that group as admin, and you can set a permission policy here, and you can see there are a lot of permission policy. This number may change based on your region, based on your service, right? Can be different. Okay, so these are like typical permissions defined by AWS. Can you see this permissions? So administrator access, right? Then we have a lot of full access, right? I mean, Alexa full access. You just see a lot of, right? There are a lot of pages. You can also see them like service wise. Okay. Let's say, for example, if you're looking for S3 service, S3 permissions, right? So you can try out like this. Okay. And just take a look here. We have Amazon S3 full access, Amazon S3 object lambda execution rule. So you have to understand what is the exact usage. Okay, so can you see Amazon S3 read-only access? Yeah. So in this, I mean, if I just apply this rule, then they can see the S3 buckets only. They cannot create a bucket or they cannot do anything. I will experiment with that. Don't worry. Okay. I will work with this. Alternatively, you can create your own policy as well. Yeah, this is also interesting. So, I mean, you can create your own policy based on your needs. I will come to that also. Yeah. But right now, let's go with the Amazon S3 full access, or not S3. Let's go for administrative access. One thing that I would like to tell you here, you can go inside this property and see what is there in this permission. Okay. So let's say if I choose this administrative access, I can choose this. Just see that. What is there inside this? So you can just see administrative access, provide full access. Just see this. Provide full access to AWS services and resources, just like a root user. Can you see that? Okay. And just want to give you the list of all the services allowed in this. You're going to see 420 services. Right? There are a lot of variation. I just want you to see this summary in JSON format. Can you see JSON here? Right. So when I switch to JSON, you will see a policy attached with this permission. Very interesting. So just see this document. I think you will make sense here. What I have just told you before. Can you see version statement? So effect is allowed. So everything is allowed. Yeah. Uh, on, I mean, what actions? Every action, all the actions, right? What resources? All the resources. So like every action is allowed on uh, every resource. This is what we call it as JSON form. Let me just give you another property. Let's say we go for read-only access. Okay, let me just show you that. This is interesting to know. So let's say if I go for read-only access now, let's see the policy attached with this permission. Okay, let's go to JSON. Now let's see this. Yeah. So effect is allowed. What is allowed? The actions. You can get, you can list, you can describe. Yeah. You can get lambda get, right? Of course, you won't be able to understand lambda, but I hope you're getting this get idea. We cannot create anything here. Okay. We cannot create anything on what? Every resource. I'm talking about S3. Okay. Yeah. Can you see? So this is how the JSON format is there as a policy which is attached with the permissions. Uh, let's see, like for an example, here we have S3 read-only access, right? Where we can actually get list kind of operation. Okay. Let me just show you the S3 full access. Just see. See the JSON. Now, can you see here? Effect is allowed. Action S3. So you can do anything on S3. Can you see asterisk? Anything on S3. And you can just see you can do anything on object lambda. That's the advanced use case. And all the resources. That means all the bucket. So if you go to, I mean, in your account, whatever what you have done, I mean, S3 buckets, you have put objects inside that S3 bucket. You can do anything on any resource. That's what is the idea. Okay. I hope you're getting this particular idea, right? When I'm talking about different permissions, how it is selected. Okay. Let's go for something and then I will make changes to this. Okay. Let's go for Amazon administrative access. Okay. I just want full access right now. Okay. And you can see I'm creating a group. So can you see I have created a group named as admins and they are attached with administrative access. Now, whatever the user I'm creating, I was creating user, right? And then I created a group, right? Because I mean, that's a kind of best policy here. And can you see, not every time when you create a user, you have to create a group. There can be existing group as well, right? I mean, now onwards, if I just create any user, right, and I want to make this a part of this admins group, then I can do it. Okay. So just see, right now there are 0 users here, right? Let's select this admin. Okay. That means the user that I'm creating will be the part of this admins group and the policies will be applied like this. Okay. I will show you this, don't worry. I mean, I will tweak with these settings. Let's go for it. Is a review and create step. So you just review what you have done. You can just see here the username, that the custom password. Okay, it is not shown here. And you can see permission summary. I mean, as the user is part of this admins group, right? They have a permission attached with this group, right? And there are tags. So tags are optional, but you can use them to identify your resources. Let's say if you're working with a lot of different IAM users, so it's a good idea. You can check it. Like for an example, I say that department. Not every time I'm going to do it. I'm just trying to give you an idea. Okay, department sales, like this key value pair. Okay, so you can identify those resources related to sales department like this. Okay. It's just a tag attached with this resource, which will identify this resource. Name is different, guys. Okay, name is different, tag is different. Okay, let's create this user. Can you see you just have this button at bottom? Let's create this. Now you can see user created successfully. Okay, you can view the user in this. Okay, no problem. And there are few things that I want to show you, right? You can email the sign-in instructions. So let's say this is your new user. You want them to know about what is the idea that they have to follow to get into that resources. Yeah. And this is very interesting part. This is a console sign-in URL. Yeah. So, I mean, let me just tell you the login page is same for the IAM users and root users. But let's say if you want, you can copy this. Okay, I will copy that because it is having the user ID. Can you see this user ID for this IAM user? Right. I will use this. And name is demo user. I have already given you an idea. All right. Now let's do one thing. I'm doing it parallelly, guys. So just see what I'm trying to do. I will open a new private window. I'm keeping it private because it is a single sign-on here in AWS. So I just want to log in with another user. So I will go for a private window and just see the URL that I have copied. Yeah, can you see this? Although you can actually go to the AWS login and choose the IAM users and everything. Okay, let's hit this URL. Okay, and can you just see that I am in that same login page which I have earlier, right? When I was logging into the root account. Okay, you can alternatively choose this root user email and do that. But right now, I need to log in with the IAM. Right, you can just see this. Can you see the account ID is already filled? Yeah, because of that URL. URL was having the account ID, right? Then you have to provide the username. So if you remember, the username was demo user. Yeah, and the password that I have selected. Let's see this. I'm getting sign in, and you will see that it's a different login. Yeah, just see this. This is my new console for this IAM user, as I was allowed to have console in IAM user. Okay. Now just see, this is your IAM user. Can you see this? Account number, something like this. This IAM user, demo user. And when you come back to this, yeah, yeah, this was a root user. Can you see? And the username was Ajitav and something like this. The user account was different. But this is root user and this is IAM user. Can you just see that? That's the difference. And now, as it is having administrator access, right? So it can go to IAM service and you can do that. So let's say you want to create some of the administrators in your organization, which can do anything. So you can create such IAM users for them, right? I will play with it, don't worry. So you can just see, yeah, here we have one user group, one user. So it can see anything here. It can do anything. All right. Now let's do one thing. Let's play with it. Okay. So let's come back to our users, right? So there is one user. Can you just see this? Single user, demo user. Let's have a summary of it. Yeah. When you go inside a user, you will see what are the permissions attached. So just see, this permission is administrator access, and it is inherited by this group admin because the permission was actually attached with the group admin. Okay, just see this. Make sense? And you can also see the groups here. Can you see the user is actually the member of this group admins? Okay. Now play with this. Okay. Right now you can see I can do anything with the user, right? Sorry. Now let's tweak with the permissions, right? Let's go to this group. Yeah. And you're going to see here there are permissions. So instead of this permission administrative access, I will provide IAM read-only access or S3 read-only access. And then let's see what is happening. Okay, let's play with this. Okay, let's remove this permission. So I've removed this permission. Let's add a permission. Okay, attach a policy here. And let's go for S3 read-only. Okay, let's go for it. That one I have shown you there. So can you see it provides read-only access to all the buckets in your S3. All right. So I will go for read-only instead of administrator access. Let's attach it. Now the you can see that now the policy is changed. It has got read-only access only. Right. So let's go for it. Let's refresh this. Okay, and let's go for the users. Now let's cross verify that the permissions are changed. Now can you see the permission will load? So inside this user demo user, I have this permission now, Amazon S3 read only access. Okay. Now let's see the effect of this in our private window. Okay. Yeah. Let's see the effect here. So let's go for S3. As I just want to play with this. Can you see I am in S3? I can see all those buckets, right? These are my buckets inside S3. Okay, S3 is a storage service, by the way. I mean, we have not covered it, but just simply it is a storage service where we have buckets inside it. We can put any of the files in the form of the objects. Okay, that's simple idea. So you can see destination bucket, right? There are a lot of buckets here. We can see those buckets, but can we create it? Let's go for it. Yeah, because I am into this, I am demo user. Okay, just make sure that you know about this. Now let's create a bucket. Yeah, and let's name it something like this. Okay, and let's go to the end and let's create it. Can you see the problem? We have restricted our user, not to create the S3 bucket. Can you see create bucket fails? Create bucket operation is not actually the set of permission that is being given to this IAM user. So permission is required to create this bucket, which is not given to this user, right? You can see a big message here. Yeah, you can see the API response and everything. So can you see that the demo user, just check it out, demo user is not authorized to perform S3 create bucket on the resource this, right? Because no identity based policy allow S3 create action. So remember that I have given the permissions here, that is Amazon read only access. I have controlled the user to do something or not to do something, right? Can you see that? Okay, I hope you are getting this idea, and based on this, right, you can actually select. One thing that I would like to tell you, and this can be a very important interview question as well as exam question. It's called as principle of least privilege. Just try to focus on this principle of least privilege. What does it mean actually? Uh, you should always assign the permissions which are required by the user. Okay. No additional permission should be given to the IAM users, right? This is called as principle of least privilege, right? We should restrict the IAM users to do anything. Like I'm working with a company. I don't want to disclose that name. They have their employees, right? And we have created one user per member there. IAM users, okay? And you might also ask me about how we can automate this. No, it is not possible. You have to create individual IAM users. Yeah. Okay. This is mandatory. I mean, you have to set that. And to manage all these users permissions, you should get him into the uh, groups. So what we have done, there we have sales team, there we have interns, there we have developers. So we just divided them into groups. We just make them into the part of that group, and we apply the policies to the group so that each and every member of that group, yeah, will have same policies. One more thing that I want to tell you here, interesting one. Yeah, as I've already told you that a user, right? Let's go to a user. This I am user, sorry. Yeah, let's go to a user. This can be a part of multiple groups as well. Okay. So this demo user, okay. Let's go to this group, user group, and let's create one more group. Okay. Let's name it like managers or maybe developers, whatever it is. I'm just trying to give you an example. Okay. And what do you want out of the all users, right? Just hold on with your questions, guys. Every time when you put a question, uh, you know, uh, there's a pop-up in front of me. Just hold on, right? I will give you time, when you can ask me questions. Yeah, please hold on. Okay. So, so you can just see the manager. Otherwise, it will skip from my mind what I'm trying to explain to you. Please see that first. Okay. So you can just see I am having one more group managers and the demo user I have already. Yeah. So what I can do, I can choose the users from here, or I can do it later. No problem. Right. No problem. So I want this user to be a part of managers group also. Yeah. Makes sense. And let's say here, I mean, I just want to give you a very interesting real-time problem that we really face here in IAM. Let's say if I give administrator access to this managers, yeah, for a reason, I have given the administrator access to this. Okay, and let's create this user group. Yeah, so can you see now there are two user groups, managers and and admins. Now let's go to our users. I have one user. Let's go inside the user. Now, this user is part of two groups. Can you see that? Admins and managers. So as I've already told you, right? Users can be part of multiple groups. Now, don't you think the policies are contradictory? Like here, I'm restricting in admins like S3 read-only access. And here in managers, administrative access. So which policy will be applied for this user? That's the question. So let me just tell you, according to AWS, the most restricted policy will be applied. Yes, let me just repeat it once again. Most restricted policy will be applied here if we have some. So you can see according to administrator rule, administrator access, everything is allowed, right? But according to admin's rule, only read-only access is allowed. So most restricted policy will be applied. That is nothing but read-only access. So this is something that you should understand. You should manage the user accordingly. Fine. Okay. So like if there are some conflicting policies, so there are two things: either you change the policies or you just remove that user from that group so that you can play with it properly. Okay. So this is the way we can actually create the users. We can create the groups. We can add permissions to the users as well as groups. It's very much similar. Let's do one more thing. Then I will take up your question. We have 10 minutes. Then we'll talk about the policies and everything tomorrow. So let's go for a user. I want to give you one more interesting idea here. Let's say I have different users. Okay. I have different users. So different users can be part of the same group and also different groups. It is very much possible, right? So you have to manage all those things cleverly. You just need to understand what users require, and based on that, you should go and do it. One thing that I would like to tell you here, the inline policies. Okay, let's try that. Let me just create one more user. So I will create demo user one. Okay, makes sense. And I would like to provide console access. I want to create IAM user. Yeah, I want a custom password. Everything is okay. The thing that I want to tell you here is about the inline policy. Let's click on next. Yes, this is very, very interesting. Can you see inline policy? Although this is not a best practice in IAM, because how can you manage so many policies with so many users? right? Group is better idea. You create a group, you put the users inside a group, and you attach permission to that group. That is a good idea, right? So, but you can do it. That is what I'm trying to tell you here. The very similar way you can see all those permissions. So this is not related to a group. This is directly attached with the user. So let's say you have some high level hierarchy and you want some board of directors or something, and you want to give them some special permissions. Okay, then you can create those users and assign them some special policies directly. Okay, that is also possible. I mean, not every time it is required. Like a user is a member of a group. Not every time it is required. You can work with the individual users also, but I hope you can understand it will be time consuming. It is not easy to manage. When you have some members, that is okay. But if you're working with very large setup, then it might be a problem. Okay. I hope you're getting this particular idea. Yeah. Yes. Any question in this part, guys? Please let me know. I'm still left with the demo on policies, right? We will create our own policies, right? We will have IAM roles, everything, right? Don't worry. I'm not yet finished with this. Look like my screen is stuck. So yes, Sunil is having a question. So can you put your question here in the chat box, or you want me to unmute? I mean, as I said, okay, let's unmute. Go for it quickly, Sunil. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, it's hard to to write everything. So
But everyone is doing
just
that. Just see this.
yeah, no, everyone we have to make it interactive. Okay, Abhijit, you have to understand. Let me
I
put a
am
question.
making it interactive. That's why I just unmuted you.
Yeah, yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let me quickly go to the question. So the
Please.
JSON, where we are we are talking about JSON. So internally, JSON is doing any commands like Unix is doing, or this is purely JSON maintained by metadata by AWS. I'm not sure, so I'm just asking
It
the
is
question.
not data, by the way. It's just a format that we have derived from JSON. I know that JSON is mainly used for data. Yeah. But
No, let
what's
me put it
Mhm,
another way. Other way.
mhm.
So internally, is it interpreting this JSON format in a certain commands?
Yes. No, there's no command. Basically, JSON is following a universal way to store information inside the policy, and that is JSON. Yeah, because JSON is a kind of format which is very, very simple to interpret, right? It is like key value pairs. That is why it is following. There's no specific command or something. Internally, the mechanism is so set, like it can get the information from that JSON document. Make sense?
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
So say like you're talking about the console, then it's good. But if it will go on a EC2, and if I have an image, Unix or Linux image,
Mhm.
and in that case, if we are writing anything on a JSON, a permission like a Unix users, right, or Linux users, so those permissions is also converted in a command, I believe. So how AWS is interpreting that on a
So,
specific image?
Sunil, we are talking about IAM right now, right? I mean, when we go to EC2, okay, then we can go for it. When we create EC2 instances, no, that's a different story. And we are ready with our Linux. How do you deal with the Linux commands and everything? That's a different part of the story, right? Right now, JSON is actually used to, give those information. What do you want to allow? What do you not want to allow to a user? Makes sense. That's a different story here, Sunil, right? Just trying to understand that.
It's an inline question, but anyway, so let me put one more question here for the metadata. So, is there any specific, say, you're saying we have to having a list permission, right? So,
Mhm.
is there any way it's listed somewhere that minimal privilege required for IAM, any IAM user require minimal privileges?
It's a kind of practice that we follow. Like whenever we create IAM users, no, we have to understand that this user required which kind of permissions. Okay. That is what we call as, the principle of least privilege. So we should not provide additional permissions to the IAM. We should be very specific what this user need, and then only we can allow those kind of permissions. That is what we call it as principle of least privilege, right? And we don't want to allow IAM users to do anything wrong inside the AWS infrastructure. That's what it is. That's a
Because
restriction that we are putting.
this is not in line with Linux concept, because if you see, if you are
See,
having a
Sunil,
root
Linux has got different idea. I mean, that's an operating system which is managing the users, commands, and access separately, right? Here I'm talking about the IAM, how it is managing and everything, right?
Okay.
Makes sense?
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, we cannot compare operating system with AWS, no? So that's a very different idea. Ernest, I have Madhuri is asking something. Policy is at user level or group level? It can be both, Madhuri. Yeah, as I told you, there are two types of policies. Yes, it's a good question, Madhuri. When you talk about the the policies, it can be attached with a user directly, no problem. That we call it as inline policies, right? But you can just see that if we are working with thousands of users, then managing all those inline policies is difficult. Makes sense? That is why we always try to attach policies with a group, and we make those users as part of that group. S3 is region specific. Yes, it is region specific. Madhu is saying that are the policies are or access level changes dynamically propagate, or do we have to relog in? Uh, at least you have to refresh, right? That is what is required. Let's say, or you can force to relog in. It is very much possible. There's a setting in IAM. Let's say if you're making some policy changes, then you can actually ask the user to relog in. It's very much possible. Harvinder is asking, can restricted user to choose other regions and restricted to one? No. See, if you have provided the console access, then it can do it. Let's say if you don't want them to do this, I mean, change in the region and everything, definitely you don't need that. Okay. So just try and understand what they need. Okay. Like this. I had policy and created 100 users. Now, if I am changing the policy, will AWS automatically update those? Yes, it will. Let's say if those 100 users are the part of a single group and you are changing or updating the permissions to that group, that will be convenient. And definitely, whatever the changes that you are making will be applied to those 100 members of that group. Okay, makes sense? How can you create user with SSO ID? I don't think so. It is supported, but there's a single sign-on service using which we can actually do it. Okay. Harvinder is saying group and user has many to many relationship. Yes, correct. Madhuri is saying when I have policy attached directly, still can we have access by? No, no, no. No. We have to make them a member of group, right? See, here AWS has got its own set idea, right? We cannot violate that. Make sense? We have to follow that. We cannot challenge it. Okay. I hope it is. So we are coming at the end of session only, Ernest. Can you explain how account ID is used in a large organization having multiple accounts? So see, when I create the IAM users, then account ID will be automatically given to the user. So don't worry about this. Okay. Shiva is asking, IAM policies are pre-existing AWS permissions. Can we create, as I told you, right? We can create our own policies. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay. Programmatically, I want to add users and add to group. What is the permission do I need to give? That is access keys, right? Those permissions needed by the user. Yeah. So programmatically, we are not really concerned here in this course. Please try and understand. Yeah. That is a little out of scope of this course because it will be very off the track if I tell you that. Harvinder is saying, can we use both our own permissions and AWS? And yes, we can. Good question, Havinder. We can. I'll show you tomorrow. So I was asking, can user have many roles? Users not having any role. Roles are for the services, guys. Okay, just try and understand. Okay, roles are always for a service, not for the users. Nitesh is saying, I have a user added to specific group with certain set of policies, but I want to restrict him from one policy in that group. So I think you are talking about conditional things. I don't think it is possible, but uh, what you can do is you can attach multiple policies, so that can be done. Okay, in that way you can adjust. Jyoti is asking, just an ask federation add integration is included in this course. Federation, I don't think so. Associate level, we don't need those kind of things. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Harvinder, for that motivating message. Thank you. Ravindran is saying that can we give access to single S3 bucket or some specific S3 buckets? We can do both. Yeah. If you remember, Ravinder, I just told you about the structure of the policy. In that policy, we can specify the action, we can specify the resource as well. Yeah. So you can do that. I mean, let's say if you want all the S3 buckets, yeah, then you in your account, then asterisk. Otherwise, specific S3 bucket is very much possible. Yeah. Can you explain account ID and its usage? Account ID is a identifier, just an identifier given by the AWS. Okay. So let me just tell you, when you log in with the IAM users, no, then you have to provide your own ID. Okay. Especially for the IAM users, but you have that URL, then it is very good, right? You can also create alias for that. Just explore the IAM users. You can find it out. You can create alias for that. Then it will be easy. Can we add a user with a group and also give certain policies? That's what we were doing, Ravi, right? Just take a look. We created a group and we added that user into that group. Just take a look one more time in the recording. I think you missed something. We did exactly the same that you're asking. Madhuri is saying, any specific naming convention that have followed? No. See, in AWS for naming of resources, we have ARNs. There's Amazon Resource Name. They manage it. We don't have to manage it. Okay. Yeah. Jyoti is saying, thank you so much for amazing session. It's really inspiring. Apart from AWS learning, I'm learning. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jyoti, thank you so much. All right. All right, guys. So it's high time to wind up the session, right? We have extended it 5 minutes. No problem. I hope I've answered all of your questions. Okay. And we move ahead, right? We have a couple of more things here um, in this part of IAM, and we'll move ahead with a couple of more things. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Right. I will see you tomorrow with a couple of more interesting things in IAM. Thank you, guys. Just explore it, right? I mean, that is how you learn. I mean, when I tell you, that's only a single part. When you try it, then only it will be yours. You have to explore it because we have limited time. You can see that. Okay. You have to make your own efforts to understand it in a better way. Okay. Thank you, everyone, guys. See you tomorrow. Take care.